Hello everyone and welcome back to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Hemant and now we are going to discuss about the most important questions that were asked from the physics section of the Combined Defense Services 2 2020 examination. Recently on 8th of November 2020, we have seen that the UPSC has conducted the CDS 2 2020. So from that particular question paper, we are going through all the important questions and the answers and the explanation pertaining to the important questions. Also, before beginning, I would like to remind you that SSB Crack Exams is India's largest, most preferred online defense exams preparation portal. If in case you are preparing for the upcoming CDS 1 2021 examination, the courses and the mock tests and all the important lecture content, study material, sample practice questions, quizzes and exercises are already there. They have been updated in our important lecture course and content. Please download our Android app from Google Play Store and please start off with your preparation with us and make sure that you prepare for the next upcoming examination in a very proper way so that it will be very helpful for you. We hope that you achieve your dream so that our small little help will be very crucial and helpful in your examination preparation. So beginning with the physics section, we will go through the important questions. So the first and foremost question from this part is, if the linear momentum of a moving object gets doubled due to the application of a force, then its kinetic energy will. Option A, remain same. Option B, increase by 4 times. Option C, increase by 2 times. And option D, increase by 8 times. So it is given that the linear momentum of a moving object, it gets doubled. What is the formula for the linear momentum of a moving object? The formula for that is equal to P is equals to M into weight is mass into velocity. So that is the momentum. So when what happens when this particular momentum increases, it will become 2P is equals to 2 into mv. Okay. So here is the important point. So what will happen to the kinetic energy? When P is equals to mv, then what is the kinetic energy? It is equals to kinetic energy is equals to half mv square. This can also be written as half into mv into v. This can also be written as half into p into v, where p is the momentum. So when kinetic energy will be half pv, what will happen when the momentum will become 2mv, it will become 2 times, then what will the kinetic energy will become? So the kinetic energy, the new kinetic energy, it will become as half into 2mv into v, because here the p is what? The p is the new momentum. So it will become what? It will be 2 times of the original momentum, of the original kinetic energy. So it will be 2 times of the kinetic energy. So what is the correct answer? It will, option C, it is increasing by 2 times. So the correct answer for this one is option C. Okay, this is regarding the linear momentum. It is not angular momentum. Please make sure that you people are understanding this important phenomenon. Going through with the next important question is, if the linear distance between two objects is increased by 2 times, the gravitational force between them will. Option A, remain same. Option B, increase by 2 times. Option C, decrease by 2 times. And option D, decrease by 4 times. So we need to understand the formula between the gravitational force between the two objects, that is given as capital F is equals to capital G into M1 M2 by r square. Okay, what is this formula? This is taken from the Newton's universal law of gravitation. So this is the important formula that of the gravitational force between two important masses. So what will happen? This is the original one. So for the new force, what is happening is the distance between them is increased by 2 times. So it will become as capital G M1 M2 by r will become what? It will become 2r whole square. So what will this become? It will be G M1 M2, okay, divided by 4r square, which will be equal to 1 by 4 into G M1 M2 by r square. Okay, so what is G M1 M2 by r square? It is equals to the F, the original F that we are finding out. So from that particular one, F dash will be 4 times of F. That means what it is happening? It is decreasing by 4 times. So the correct answer for this one is option D, that it will decrease by 4 times. Going through with the next important question is, which one of the following statements with regard to the ultraviolet light is not correct? Okay. So ultraviolet light is coming under the electromagnetic radiation. So we need to find out that which among these statements that are given below will be pertaining correct, which is not absolutely correct with regard to the ultraviolet light. So option A says that it is an electromagnetic wave, which is absolutely correct. Option B says that it can travel through vacuum. Yes, all electromagnetic waves are capable to travel through vacuum. And option C says that it is a longitudinal wave. This is absolutely wrong, because longitudinal waves are mechanical waves and mechanical waves are not electromagnetic waves. Understanding? So electromagnetic waves are not mechanical waves. They are not longitudinal or translational. Okay, so it is not a longitudinal wave. And option D says that its wavelength is shorter or smaller than that of visible light, which is absolutely correct. If we go through the wavelength, then first comes the gamma rays, then after gamma rays comes the ultraviolet rays. Okay, so after ultraviolet rays, then comes the important visible light spectrum, and also if you can go through in that formula, in that pertaining series, so the wavelength is absolutely smaller than that of visible light, and that is the reason why its frequency is much higher than that of the visible light, and energy of the ultraviolet light is also stronger than that of the visible light. So option D is also correct, but option C is absolutely wrong. It is not a longitudinal wave, and that is the reason why the correct answer for this one is answer C, which is it is not a longitudinal wave. Going through with the next question is, if the speed of light in air is represented by C. Okay, so the speed of light in air is represented by C, and the speed in a medium is represented by V. Then the refractive index of the medium, it is represented by small n. Remember, so small n is equals to C divided by V. This is the formula that you have to remember. Okay, so the speed of light in air divided by the speed of light in the vacuum will give you the value of the refractive index of that particular vacuum. Understanding? So the refractive index of glass is equals to speed of light in air divided by speed of light in that glass. Refractive index of water is equals to speed of light in air divided by speed of light in water. So it will be given in that particular way. So the correct answer for this one is what? It will be option B, C by V. Okay. Going through with the next question is, which one of the following lenses will bend the light rays through the largest angle? Okay, so which among these will bend the light rays through largest angle? So what is that lens? Only that lens which has the largest focus. Okay, so which has the smallest focus. The lens with the smallest focus will bend the light rays in the largest angle. The more smaller focus you have, the more large the angle will be focused upon. See, for example, here is a convex lens. So if this convex lens has focus here very near, then what will happen? The lens, all of them has to go through in a larger angle. They will bend at a larger angle wherever you are choosing it. But if the focus is somewhere here, for example, if the focus is somewhere here, the new focus, then what will happen? The rays, the light rays will bend in a smaller angle. Okay, so that is how we need to understand. So taking those terms into consideration, the only that particular one which has the smallest focus. Remember, what is it? It is the smallest focus will be taken into consideration. Let that be a concave lens or let that be a convex lens. No matter what, whichever lens has the smallest focus, only that will be taken as that important lens wherein which the light rays will bend through the largest angle. Now, if you can see here, they have given the answer with powers. So regarding the first option, they have the power with plus or minus diopters. So D means diopter. So the power of the lens, if the power is given in positive, then it means it is a convex lens. Understanding? And if the power is given in minus, it is in negative, then it is known as a concave lens. To be more precise or more proper, we need to say that the power of the lens, if it is given in the positive diopters, then it is a converging lens, and that is why I called it as a convex lens. And if it is in negative ones, then it is a diverging lens, and that is why it is known as a concave lens. So taking these into consideration, we have to remember one important formula. Power is equals to what? It will be 1 by focus. It is exactly reciprocal of the focus. So from this particular one, what is the formula for the focus? It will be focus is equals to 1 divided by power. Okay. So 1 divided by P will be the focus. So we will go through with all the options. For option A, if A is equals to, what is the power given as? It is 1 by 2. It is equals to 0.5. The focus is equals to 0.5 meters. And for the second option, okay, the focus of the second option, what it is given? It is given as 2.5. So 1 by 2.5, which is given as 10 by 25, which is again can be written as 5 2s are 5 5s. It will be 2 divided by 5. What is the value of 2 divided by 5? So the value of the 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. It will be equal to 0.4 meters. Now going through with the third option, what is the focal length of the sea? It will be 1 by 1.5. I'm not taking the signs into consideration. I'm directly going through the focal length. So focal length of the third option is 1 by 1.5, which is equals to 10 by 15, and that one is equals to 3 by 5. So if we go through with 3 by 5, it will be equal to 0.6 meters. And what is the focal length of D? Focal length of D is equals to also, it is what? 1 by 2, which is equals to 0.5 meters. But the difference between this is the focal length of what lens? Option A, it is the focal length of the convex lens, and option B is also focal length of the convex lens. Option C is focal length of the concave lens, and option D is also the focal length of the concave lens. So from among all of these, which one is that option wherein which we have the smallest focus? Which is absolutely option B. 0.4 meters is that particular lens. The focal length of the 0.4 meters is smallest among all the options that are given. So the correct answer is what? It is option B. Okay, option B is the correct answer. The lens with the power plus 2.5 diopter is that particular lens that can bend the light rays through the largest angle. Okay, the main thesis that you have to remember here is what? It is the smallest focus. This is the important point that you have to remember. Okay, now going through with the next question is, a luminous object is placed at a distance of 40 meters, okay, from a converging lens of focal length 25 meters. The image obtained in the screen is in what particular way? So we will first take the horizontal axis. So from this particular horizontal axis, we have an important lens. Okay, what type of lens is this? This is a converging lens. Okay, so this one is a converging lens. Convergent lens means what? It is a concave lens. So from this particular concave lens, we have to understand that there are light rays that are passing on. So from this concave lens, a luminous object, let us take this luminous object as a candle. Okay, this is a candle. So this is placed at a distance of 40 centimeters. So it is placed at what? It is placed at a distance of 40 centimeters. So this one is a candle that we are seeing it. So this is at a distance of what? It is at a distance of 40 centimeters from the converging lens. Okay, so what is the focus given as? Converging lens of focal length is 25 centimeters. So it is little bit here. The focal length is somewhere here, and the length of the focal length can be given as what? It is given as 25 centimeters. If focal length is 25 centimeters, then where is the radius of curvature? The radius of curvature is somewhere here. Okay, it is C. Why? The radius of curvature C is absolutely double. Okay, so this will be how much? It will be 2 into 25. It will be equal to 50 centimeters. This is the radius of curvature. So where is my object? My object is between the radius of curvature and the focus. When you have an object which is in between the radius of curvature and focus, then how will the image be formed? If you have to go through that important image, then the image will be formed in a very particular direction, and the light rays will be going through in a very particular way. See, there will be one light ray that will be going from this particular direction, and there will be one more light ray that will be passing on all the way from the center of the pole. Okay, so it will be passing all the way from the center like this, and here we will have the focus of absolutely at half of the distance we'll have the focus. So this one also we will from the focus it will be passing on. So the light ray will pass in this particular direction, and we will have an important image that is formed here again. Okay, our image is formed somewhere here in the bottom. This is how our image is formed. So if this is A and A dash, so our A and B, so this one will be what? It will be again here we will get the image of B dash, and here we will get the image of A dash. So here what is happening to the image is it is getting enlarged, it is getting inverted. What is the important thing that we have to understand here? My image is enlarged, okay, my image is inverted, and what is it happening? It is enlarged, inverted. The other meaning of enlarged is what? It is magnified. Okay, so what is the correct answer here is? It is absolutely answer option C. It is inverted and magnified. Okay, so from this particular session, I think that you are understanding what I'm trying to say. It is answer is option C. Okay, whenever the object is in between the focal length and in between the center radius of the curvature, then what will be the nature of the object? The nature of the image, it will be formed, it will be inverted and magnified. Okay, Going through with the next question is, when a light ray enters into glass medium from water at an angle of incidence 0 degrees, what would be the angle of refraction? Okay, so there are two mediums, there are two important mediums. Okay, so here there is medium 1 and here is medium 2. Okay, there are two mediums, for example. And what is medium 1? Medium 1 is water and medium 2 is glass. Okay, and light ray is entering from water into glass. At what angle is it entering? It is entering at an angle of 0 degrees. If it would have entered with some particular angle, that means this will be the imaginary ray that I am trying to draw at an angle of around theta 1. Okay, and here is the exact line of the medium. It will get reflected by some particular way. Yes, so light, when it enters from one medium to another medium, it will get reflected. So the new angle that it will get reflected is given as theta 2. If this was the case, then we have a formula that V1 by V2 is equals to sine of theta 1 divided by sine of theta 2. This is the actual formula to find out the angle of the reflection whenever we know the velocities of both the rays. Okay, so we are taking this formula into consideration. We don't know what is V1 and V2. So we know what is theta 1. The theta 1 value is given as what? It is given as 0 degrees. So what is the value? Sine theta 2 is equals to, it will be equal to sine of theta 1 into V2 divided by V1. Now since my theta 1 value is 0, my sine value will be 0. Now since the sine value is 0, the whole multiplication will become 0. What is the value of sine theta 2? Sine theta 2 is 0. When will sine theta 2 will be 0? When theta 2 also will be 0 degrees. So at what is the angle of the refraction? Angle of refraction is also 0 degrees. So how is my ray entering this important one? When it is entering at an angle of 0 degrees here, it will again continue to be in the same 0 degrees only. Understanding? There will be no case of refraction here and there will no refraction will be done. So here the correct answer is what? It is absolutely answer C, that the answer is 0 degrees. Okay, it will get refracted with an angle of 0 degrees only. Going through with the next important question is, which one of the following phenomena verifies the fact that light travels much faster than sound? Understanding? So which among these is that phenomenon where it verifies the fact that light travels much faster than sound? Is it option A, twinkling of stars in night sky, or option B, lightning of a matchstick, or option C, thunderstorm, or option D, mirage? The correct answer for this is option C, thunderstorm. Okay, it is regarding the thunderstorm only that we understand. If we go through the thunderstorm, whenever you hear the thunder, you will first see the lightning and then you will hear that particular thunder. So it is during the thunderstorm that we can understand that light travels much faster than the sound. Going through with the next question is, which one of the following combinations of source and screen would produce sharpest shadow of an opaque object? So what is this source? This source is something that is luminous. Okay, this source is something. Let us take for example a candle or a light bulb. And what is the screen? This screen is an opaque screen. It can be an opaque screen or it can be a transparent screen or whatever it can be. So in what particular way can we produce a sharpest shadow? What is the meaning of the sharpest shadow? Whenever the shadow is formed, it is very, very clear and you can draw the boundary of that shadow. Okay, so which among these is that particular option that clearly mentions wherein which you can draw sharpest shadow? Is it option A point source and an opaque screen, or option B, an extended source and an opaque screen, or option C, a point source and a transparent screen, or option D, an extended source and a transparent screen? So the correct answer for this is option A, a point source and an opaque screen. You can take this point source as a bulb that is shown here, and this is an opaque screen. What is an opaque screen? This is completely a black sheet. Okay, so this is an opaque screen. And now this particular opaque screen, when I make a small incision, when I make a small hole, and when the light is placed at that particular hole, there I can see the object. What is the object here? My object is the ball. Okay, it is a ball. So whenever this light falls on it, you can see a sharpest shadow being formed upon. When you place a transparent screen, whenever the screen is not there, then the shadow that is formed, it is not as clear. Okay, so it is only on this particular case we can form a sharpest shadow. Okay, going through with the next question is, which one among the following is a non-conventional source of energy? What is a non-conventional source of energy? They are those source of energies that are inexhaustible. Understanding? Something that you cannot exhaust. Okay, that means there is no end for it. what are those energies that is known? Is it option A, petroleum or coal or radioactive elements or solar energy? So the correct answer from this is option D, the solar energy. Okay, it is during the solar energy. Solar energy is a non-conventional source of energy, and it is this particular option that clearly mentions that the solar energy is something that has no end. You can take whatever amount of solar energy that you want from it. So that is it regarding this particular session, and I hope that the session was very helpful. If in case you find out any doubts or queries at any particular question, or if you need any more extra explanation regarding any question, please feel free to download and ask in the comment section and also in the discussion box. Please download our Android app from Google Play Store. Always stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind.
Hello everyone, this is Vibhav Trivedi from SSB Crack Exams, and today we are going to discuss the chemistry questions of CDS 2 2020, which was held today itself, that is on 8th November 2020. And there were totally 13 questions which were asked, and most of the questions were from 9th and 10th class of NCRT. So if you have to be thorough with that, you must have gone through this. And the next thing you should know is that most of the questions were directly asked from our CDS courses of SSB CAC exam. So you have to be the first one to take the advantage of that. And if you have gone through our courses, you will know that how comfortable and questions were asked from these examinations. So friends, let's get started with the first question. The first question here is, which one of the following statement about the properties of neutron is not correct? That means most of the properties are correct. We have to identify the incorrect one, right? So neutron mass is almost equal to the proton mass. Yes, it's almost equal to the proton mass. So that is the correct statement. So this cannot be the option. Okay, neutron possesses zero charge. Yes, neutron is neutral. So this is also wrong. So neutron are located inside the atomic nucleus. That is also correct. So this also cannot be the option. So obviously we are left with the last option, that is the D option is correct here, that neutrons revolve around the atomic nuclei is an incorrect statement, right? Because if you look at the atomic structure here, so this is the nuclear region, and in the nuclear region you have two members. Okay, one is neutron and second is the proton. Neutrons are having no charge. Okay, that's why we represent it as N0, which indicates that neutrons are neutral and they have no charge. Protons are positively charged fundamental particles, so we represent it as P plus. And the outermost shell we have electrons revolving, not the neutrons. Okay, and electrons are negatively charged. They are the lightest particle of the atom, right? So the D option will be correct option here. Moving on to the next question, we have a mixture of sodium chloride and ammonium chloride can be separated by. Okay, so out of all the method, sublimation will be correct, because you know ammonium chloride, whose formula is given by NH4Cl. Okay, it's a sublimate. What do we mean by sublimate? Like ammonium chloride can transfer from solid state to gaseous state directly. Okay, from solid state to gaseous state directly by without going to the liquid state. So such type of things are known as sublimates. And since when we will heat this in the burner, as you can see in the experiment here, so this ammonium chloride, you know, it will get converted into the gaseous state, but the NaCl will not get converted. So that's why it will help in its separation. So the correct method for this separation will be sublimation. Moving on to the next question, we have symbol of element was introduced by. So symbol of element was introduced by the scientist John Dalton. Okay, so he was the first one to have a classification like this. Okay, and here, you know, one more option is given which might be confusing, because Berzelius is also associated with giving symbols. But you know, the present symbol which we have today, okay, it was given by Berzelius, but the first attempt, you know, it was made by John Dalton, who is also known as the father of atomic theory, right? Next question, we have to identify the correct pair of elements along the following, which are liquid in state at the room temperature. Okay, so basically we see bromine and fluorine cannot be the correct option, because fluorine is a gas. Okay, so this is not the correct option. Then mercury is a liquid, but rubidium is not a liquid, so this is also not the correct option. Bromine is a liquid, but thallium is not liquid, so this is also not the correct option. So ultimately we are left with bromine and mercury. So that is the correct answer, that is bromine and mercury. And one more thing you should know is, generally metals are solid in state, but mercury, okay, which is indicated by the symbol Hg, is the only liquid found in metals. Similarly, even non-metals are found in solid and gaseous state mainly. Okay, but bromine is the only non-metal which is found in liquid in state. Okay, at room temperature they are talking. Okay, and room temperature for us is 25 degree Celsius. This is something we need to take care of. Okay, so here you see mercury, which is liquid in state, and we have bromine, which is also liquid in state. Okay, and bromine is also a halogen and it has brown color gas like this. So these are the facts which can be helpful in your other examinations as well. Moving on to the next question we have, which one of the following shows both acidic and basic behavior? So here they are asking about a metallic oxide, okay, which can react with acid and base both, okay, to form salt and water, right? So such type of oxides, they have got a different name and it is known as amphoteric oxides. Okay, such type of oxides are known as amphoteric oxides, and there are only two amphoteric oxides. Okay, one is aluminium oxide and another is zinc oxide. So these are the two type of oxides we have. So you see we have got only one option here, that is zinc oxide. Rest all are wrong. Okay, so the correct way of answering question is you should know why the other three options are wrong. When you already have got a very good clarity with respect to why other three questions are wrong, then automatically you will be very confident about the option which you are marking correct. So here the correct answer will be zinc oxide. As you can see, zinc is reacting with acid, okay, and zinc is reacting with a base. Metallic oxides are basic in nature, and see this is a base. Sodium hydroxide is base. Okay, so zinc oxide is reacting with acid and base to give you salt and water. Okay, so that's why it is an amphoteric oxide. And remember another example also, that is aluminum oxide, which is another amphoteric oxide example. Next question we have, silver turns black when kept in open for a longer time due to the formation of. Okay, so yes, this process is corrosion basically, which they are talking about. And corrosion basically, suppose if you have a metallic surface, so their metallic surfaces, when they come in contact with water, oxygen, moisture, and many other things, their upper layer, what happens to them, it gets corroded. Okay, it gets corroded and it gets deformed. So it sometimes it develops different color also. And silver, silver develops black color. Every element develops different color. Silver develops black color because what happens is silver, it reacts with the hydrogen sulfide present in nature and it get converted into silver sulfide. Okay, so how this silver sulfide has come, this silver charge is +1 and sulfide charge is -2. So basically we have the formation of Ag2S. So out of all the option here, D option will be the correct option here. So you can very well see the D option will be marked correct. Apart from this, my advice will be to remember the color of corrosion for the important elements. Okay, like see, you saw silver, it develops the black color. Okay, similarly iron, it becomes reddish brown. Okay, so iron develops reddish brown color, right? So next copper develops the green color. Okay, then lead, it develops the white color. Okay, lead, it develops the white color. So this time they have asked about silver, next time they can ask you about iron, copper, lead, anything. So you have to be prepared from all the directions, right? So that's why if you go through our courses, you will know better. Like we have already told you that these are the cases and out of that only they're asking. So it enhances your preparation and make sure that you crack the examination within the first attempt if you are with us. So let's move to the next question now. So this is the question which they have given, chemistry questions from current affairs. So yes, you need to relate the chemistry in your daily life as well. Okay, so here the question which they're asking is that in the Beirut killing, okay, there were 100 people killed and 1,000 were wounded. So this blast was caused by which chemical? So basically that blast is caused by ammonium nitrate. This is how you write ammonium nitrate, NH4NO3. Okay, so this because of this component there was a blast, okay, on August 4, 2020, right? And there are several other incidences you should remember. Like this year only there was a like gas leakage in Vishakhapatnam. So that gas which was leaked there was styrene. So even these questions can come. And similarly, you should never forget about Bhopal gas, which happened in the year 1984. Okay, so Bhopal is the capital of Madhya Pradesh. So their methyl isocyanate was leaked. So yeah, this is how they can ask question from the current affairs. So you have to be very alert and vigilant with respect to chemistry in the current affairs as well. Next we have, What is little boy? This question was asked. Okay, so you might not relate it to chemistry, but this is related to chemistry only. Okay, so basically the correct option for this is the first option, that is it's a fission bomb which was dropped in Hiroshima, right? Hiroshima on the 6th of August 1945 during World War II. Okay, this was dropped in Hiroshima, which is a city. It's a Japanese city, right? And there was a havoc, and there was a very damaged, right? So America is really infamous for that. So little boy is the fission bomb dropped at Hiroshima. Moving on to the next question, we have got radioactive isotope of hydrogen is. So friends, you need to remember, like suppose there is an element X. Okay, so in the lower part we write the atomic number, in the upper part we write the mass number. Okay, so if we have got two elements which have got the same atomic number, let us take another element Y. So if it has got the same atomic number, okay, and but different mass number, okay, right? So that element will be X only, right? So you see, this is what, this is an isotope. Okay, means atomic number will be same, right? Z will be same and A will be different. Right, so these are known as isotopes. So isotopes of hydrogen are very famous. There are three isotopes of hydrogen, okay, which are basically known as 1, 2, 3. They have, all three isotopes have got different name: protium, deuterium, and tritium. So here tritium is radioactive. Okay, out of all the isotopes, you have got the three isotopes here: protium, deuterium, and tritium. So this one is radioactive. That means it emits radiation. All the three isotopes of hydrogen are very important. Okay, like see deuterium. Why deuterium is often, many times question has come, deuterium is used to manufacture heavy water, that is D2O. The normal water which you use in daily life is light water, okay, and this is heavy water. Okay, so this is used in the atomic reactor. So many times, this time they're asking about the question tritium, next time they can ask about deuterium. So the correct option here is tritium, which is radioactive isotope of hydrogen. Moving on to the next question we have, which of the following is used for storing biological tissues? Okay, so the correct option for that is liquid nitrogen. Okay, because liquid nitrogen is also known as cryogenic. It's a freezing agent. Okay, cryogenic, right? It's a cryogenic agent, so it can make sure that the biological tissues, they have a longer shell life, so that's why it is used there, right? Next we have, which one of the following does not form oxide on reaction with oxygen? See, if a thing is not forming oxide with reacting with oxygen, that means its reactivity is very low. So for that we'll have to see the reactivity series. Okay, so in this question you have the reactivity series, and you see these metals, they are highly, these group of metals, they're highly unreactive. So we have only one metal out of all the series which I'm showing here, right? So silver will be the correct option because it is having lowest reactivity, so there will be no formation of oxide here. So that's why the correct option for this will be silver oxide. Moving on to the next question, we have the valency of phosphorus is. So for this, you need to observe the element phosphorus. The symbol of phosphorus is P, and the atomic number of phosphorus is 15. How we can write the electronic configuration? It can be 2, 8, 5. 2 in the K shell, 8 in the L shell, and M in the 5 in the M shell, right? So valency is basically the combining capacity. So we can have two valencies for this. Okay, see, either phosphorus can lose 5 electrons, so that means it can have plus 5, and it can gain 3 electrons. Okay, because it has to complete the octet to become stable, right? So it has to complete the octet to become stable. So there are two ways: either it can lose 5 electrons or gain 3 electrons. So 3 and 5, okay, 3 and 5 can be two valencies of phosphorus. So the correct option for this will be D, that is 3,5. Okay, moving on to the next question, we have lead nitrate on heating gives. So this is a straight NCERT question, where for decomposition reaction, 10th class first chapter decomposition reaction topic. Okay, so there they are asking. So see the reaction here, we have lead nitrate, and when we thermally decompose it, because this is an example of thermal decomposition. Okay, so when you thermally decompose lead nitrate, you get lead oxide, you get nitrate gas, okay, and you get oxygen gas. So basically out of these two options which we have here, PbO and NO2. Okay, so these are the B option will be the correct option here. So friends, I would highly advise you to enroll in our courses as soon as possible if you want to be very comfortable with the chemistry sections and other sections as well. I will wish you all the very best. Keep learning. Stay blessed, everyone. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Hello everyone and welcome back to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Hemant and now we are going to discuss about the important questions that were asked in the biology related questions of the Combined Defense Services Examination 2 of 2020 examination. CDS 2 2020 paper was conducted on 8th of November 2020 and the paper was considered to be very tricky and it was a moderate kind of question paper. So in this particular section I will be discussing about those important questions that were related towards the biology section. If in case you are preparing for the CDS 1 2021 examination, I would like to recommend you to download our Android app from Google Play Store always. You can also go through our important website learn.ssbcrackexams.com and you can also start off with one of your favorite courses for the Combined Defense Services examination or various other defense related examinations, whichever one you are interested in. We have most important study material, lecture content, sample practice questions, quizzes, exercises and all the important examination related mock tests that will be very helpful for your examination preparation. So you can please join up in the team and make sure that your preparation process is going very well and good so that your queries and the discussions will be made in a very proper way. So now beginning with the first and foremost question regarding this section is, under the kingdom Plantae, which of the following individuals are predominantly aquatic? Okay, so this is under the kingdom of Plantae, which of the following individuals are predominantly aquatic? So is it option A, bryophytes, option B, algae, option C, pteridophyta and option D, gymnosperms? So the correct answer for this one is option B, algae. So these are predominantly aquatic under this kingdom Plantae. So the examples that include are the Spirogyra, Ulothrix, which will be some important examples that will be coming under the algae. Going through with the next question is, all the individuals of a particular organism such as rose plants belong to a taxonomic category called. Okay, so what particular taxonomic category will they be working upon? Is it option A, species, or option B, genus, or option B, family, or option D, order? If we have to go through that, then the taxonomic studies under a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities are called as species. So one should be able to distinguish one species from another closely. See, if we can consider about the scientific name of mango, the scientific name of mango is Magnifera indica. Okay, so this is the scientific name of mango. So in this particular name, indica is the term that is related towards the species part. And what is a genus? A genus comprises a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to the species of other genera. So Magnifera comes under the genus part. Okay, so this is the genus part. So what is a family? The next category will be family. Okay, so some of these species will be categorized as genus and after genus comes the family. And what is family? It has a group of related genus which still has number of similarities that are compared to genus and species. Okay, so families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive features of the plant species. And then comes the next important one, which will be the order. Okay, you can see that the order and other higher taxonomic categories are identified. They are based on aggregates or the characters. Order being a higher category is the assemblage of families. Understanding? So various assemblage of families will be forming under order, and the similar characters are less in number as compared to the different genera included in the family. So which is that particular important taxonomic category wherein which the particular organism such as rose plants will be kept? So the correct answer for this one is option A, species. So all individuals belonging to a particular organism fall under the taxonomic category species. Species is the basic unit of classification consisting of a group of similar individuals as I explained. Going through with the next important question is, pearls are harvested from what? Are they harvested from option A, prawns, or option B, pila, or option C, tuna, or option D, oyster? So pearls are formed in oysters. That is the correct answer for that one is option D. So these are developed as a natural protection against an irritant such as parasite entering their shell. So if in case any parasite enters their shells, the pearls will be acting as an irritant that will damage the other important ones, and whichever particular parasite which is entering, it will be intended to make the fragile body, the marine oysters and freshwater mussels which will be there, it will be there to damage all of the important fragile bodies. So to completely get rid of those parasites, the pearls will be very helpful. Okay, so Pinctada is a genus of saltwater oysters or the pearl oysters. So pearls are formed in what? They are oysters. Okay, So going through with the next important question is, wings of birds and bats are considered analogous structures because they have what? They are considered analogous because they have common origin and common function, or that is because of their different origin and common function, or common origin and different function, or different origin and different function. If in case you are seeing that these are analogous structures simply mentions that they are from the different origin, and because both birds and bats are both flying organisms, since both of the wings they both have the common functions because both of them are used for flying. So the correct answer for this one is option B. Okay, that birds and bat wings, both of them are similar. They have distinct evolutionary backgrounds, but they are superficially similar because both have undergone natural selection that has developed them to play a key role in flight. Hence, they have different origin, but they do perform the same function. Okay, going through with the next question is, apart from hyperacid secretion, peptic ulcers are also developed due to the bacterial infection. The causative agent is what? Okay, so which is that particular bacteria that will be important in case of the stomach ulcers or the ulcers that are developed? So which is that particular bacteria? Is it option A, Helicobacter pylori, or option B, E. coli, or option C, Streptococcus pneumoniae, or option D, Salmonella typhimurium? The correct answer for this one is option A. Okay, the Helicobacter pylori or the H. pylori, it is the stomach infection bacteria. This will the most common cause of ulcers. Okay, so in case if your digestive tract, these germs will invade your body, they will cause sores in the lining of your stomach or upper part of cell intestine after several years. Okay, and that will be causative agent for the ulcers. So even for certain people this will also be get very worse, and this may also lead to stomach cancer. So it is very important that you maintain proper that you eat your food at proper time and always maintain proper digestive system, and you also always maintain proper balanced diet. Going through with the next important question is, which one of the following statements about phloem is correct? Is it option A, phloem transports water and minerals, or option B, phloem transports photosynthetic products, or option C, phloem is a simple tissue, and option D, phloem gives support to the plant? Okay, so we need to find out which among these options is correct. That means the three of these options are absolutely wrong, and the correct answer, the only statement that is correct here is option B, that the phloem transports photosynthetic products. Okay, it does not transport water and minerals. It is xylem that transports water and minerals, and it is not a simple tissue. It is a form of cell, and it does not give support to the plant. It is sclerenchyma cells that will give support to the plant. So the correct answer for this one is option B. It is xylem that will bring water and mineral salts, and the sucrose, amino acids are all transferred by the to the plant by the phloem. Okay, so all of these are the photosynthetic products. They are spread across the body of the plant via phloem tissue found in the roots, stems and leaves of the vascular bundles. Going through with the next question is, mature sclerenchyma cells have what? Do they have cellulose wall and are living, or do they have lignified wall and are living, or do they have suberized wall and are dead, or option D, lignified wall and are dead? The correct answer for this one is they have lignified wall and they are dead walls. Okay, so one of the three types of fundamental tissues are what? They are sclerenchyma, and other one is parenchyma and collenchyma. Parenchyma are living thin wall tissues. Collenchyma are living irregular wall support tissues, whereas sclerenchyma are those that are dead cells and they have lignin containing secondary walls, and that is why they are very thick enough. Okay, sclerenchyma cells, since they have the dead cells and since they have lignin containing secondary walls, they are heavily thick. They will be helpful in maintaining the posture and in maintaining the support of the plant. Okay, going through with the next question is, in human beings, the chromosomes that determine the birth of a normal female child are what? Okay, is it option A, one X chromosome from mother and one X chromosome from mother and one Y chromosome from father? I'm writing a table so that we will understand. Okay, so one X chromosome from mother, one X chromosome from father. Option B says one X chromosome from mother and one Y chromosome from father. So the first one is both X chromosomes, the second one is one X and one Y. Option C says two X chromosomes from mother and one X chromosome from father, or option D is one X chromosome and one Y chromosome from mother from father and one X chromosome from mother. So which among these is the correct answer? The correct answer is option A. If both of the chromosomes are X, only then we will get a female child. The sex of the or the gender of the birth of the child will be determined by the chromosome that is given by the father, not by the mother. The mother will give both X chromosomes only, but the father is the person which will give X or Y chromosome. If from the father you get the X chromosome, then the child will be female, and if you get a Y chromosome, the child will be male. Okay, so this is a very important. A female child inherits from her mother one X chromosome and her father one X chromosome. Typically males have an X and Y chromosomes. A male inherits from his mother an X chromosome and from his father a Y chromosome. So please remember, it is the father who will determine the sex of the child. Going through with the next question is antibiotic such as penicillin, it will block wall. Okay, it will block what? It will block option A, cell wall formation in bacteria, or option B, RNA synthesis in bacteria, or option C, DNA synthesis in bacteria, or option D, division in the bacteria. So the correct answer for this one is option A, cell wall formation. Okay, what is happening in the cell wall? If the cell is not formed, if the cell wall is not formed, then the cell cannot be formed. When the cell cannot be formed, then the cell cannot reproduce. In that particular way, the antibiotics such as penicillin, it will block the formation of the new cells, thereby completely eradicating the disease. Okay, so as it targets bacteria specific proteins and has no effect on human proteins, penicillin is an effective drug to battle in bacterial infections. Penicillin stops a new cell wall from reforming as a bacterium divides. They work by inhibiting the synthesis of bacterial cell walls from the peptidoglycan layer. That is it. Regarding this particular section, we have got only 9 biology related questions in the whole of the CDS 2 2020 question paper. If in case you have any other doubts or queries regarding this particular section, please feel free to always ask your doubts at support@ssbcrackexams.com. You can even ask us, you can download our Android app and you can ask your doubts and queries in the discussion box, wherein which each and every particular subject matter expert will be always there for your help, and we will guide you for your upcoming examination preparation. Please make sure that you prepare for the upcoming CDS 1 2021 examination, and I wish all the very best for all of those aspirants who are going to qualify this particular examination and are preparing for the SSB interview. All the very best. Stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind. Hello everyone and welcome back to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Hemant, and now we are going to discuss about the questions that are related towards the economy, Indian economy, and the economics related questions from the general knowledge paper of the CDS 2 2020 examination. The Combined Defense Services Examination 2 of 2020 was conducted on 8th of November 2020. So regarding that particular question paper, we are discussing 9 most important questions that were related and asked regarding the economics and the economy related ones. Before beginning, I would like to tell you that SSB Crack Exams is India's largest, most preferred online defense exams preparation portal. If in case you people are preparing for the CDS 1 2021 examination, I would like to recommend you to download our Android app from Google Play Store and then go through our courses. You can even go through the website ssbcrackexams.com and then choose your favorite course. We have already provided updated important lecture content, the study material, sample practice questions, quizzes, exercises, and also most important mock tests have been provided for your pursuit. I would like to recommend you to download those important courses, and they will be very, very helpful for your upcoming examination preparation. Beginning with the first and foremost question in this particular section is, as per the budget estimates of 2019 to 20, the following are some of the most important sources of tax receipts for the union government, which include 1. Corporation tax, 2. Taxes on income other than corporation tax, 3. Goods and services tax, and 4. Union excise duties. Which one of the following is the correct descending order of the foresaid tax receipts as a percentage of GDP? So all of these are regarding the tax receipts that are being taken up by the union government regarding the budget estimates of 2019 to 20, and they were given as corporation tax. Then comes the taxes of other income, which does not include any kind of corporation tax, and then comes the goods and services tax, and then the union excise duties. The correct answer for this one is option A, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so regarding the breakup of the central government receipts in 2019 to 20 in crores regarding the gross tax revenue, which include the corporation tax is around 7,66,000 crores, the taxes of income which include 5,69,000 crore, the goods and services tax include the 6,63,343 crores. Then comes the customs tax which include the 1,55,904 crores. Union excise duties include the 3 lakh crores and service tax includes null. So regarding the gross tax revenue of our country as per the budget estimates of the 2019 to 20, which will be 24,61,195. So this is the gross tax revenue. So regarding that particular one, we have to understand that the descending order of this one is the maximum will be given for the corporation tax. From there we will get, then the second maximum will be taken from the income tax, and then comes the goods and services tax, and then comes the union customs, and then comes the union excise duties. So regarding that particular one, the correct answer would be option A, 1, 2, 3 and 4. If there are any changes regarding this particular question, we will update you, because this is considered to be the basic general update that we have got regarding the complete tax data that we have got. So going through with the next question is, as per the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking, India's rank has improved from 142 in 2014 to 63 in 2019. During this period, in which of the following parameters has India's rank deteriorated? The meaning of deteriorated is, that means it has been reduced. Okay, so this is the important one. So our rank in the ease of doing business, it was 142 in the whole world in the year of 2014, and after around 5 years in the year of 2019, we have shot up all the way up to 63. Our rank was 63. So among all of, there are various parameters by in which the ease of doing business ranking will be given by the World Bank. So which was that parameter that our rank was reduced than the previous ones? Was it option A, ease of starting a business, or option B, getting electricity, or option B, registering property, or option D, paying taxes? The correct answer for this one is option B, getting electricity. Getting electricity was a problem in this particular parameter. Our rank has been deteriorated. India has climbed around 14 rungs in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business survey to stand at 63 among 190 countries, making it one of the top 10 most improved countries for the third consecutive time. Compared with the last year, our ranking deteriorated on 2 parameters. The first parameter was on protecting minority investors, which was not given here in the options, and the second parameter was getting electricity. So in that, we have deteriorated from 22nd to 25th position and remained unchanged in enforcing contracts pattern, and there our rank was 163. So this is considered to be a very, very important question, and the correct answer for this one is option B. Going through with the next question is, which one of the following statements about Indian economy during 2019 to 20 is not correct? Okay, Indian economy during this particular financial year 2019 to 20, it is not correct. Option A says that there has been deceleration in growth rate. Option B says that there has been sluggish growth in tax revenue relative to the budget estimates. Option C says that fiscal deficit as percentage of GDP has been as per the budget estimates, and option D says that non-tax revenue registered a considerably higher growth. The correct answer for this one is option C. It says that fiscal deficit as percentage of GDP has been as per the budget estimates. It has not been as per the budget estimates, and it has been reduced. So that is regarding this particular question, and the other 3 options are absolutely correct. So going through with the next important question is, as per the budget estimates of expenditure on major subsidies during 2019 to 20, the maximum expenditure was likely to be on what? Okay, so this is regarding the budget estimates, the major subsidies. So the subsidies that are given under the budget estimates of this financial year, was it most in which particular one? Was it the subsidy on urea, or the petroleum subsidy, or food subsidy, or fertilizer subsidy? The correct answer for this one is option C, food subsidy. Okay, so as per the budget estimates of expenditure on subsidies during 2019 to 20, food subsidy has been budgeted in the year of 2019 to 20 around 1,84,220 crores. And then the second rank goes to the fertilizer subsidy, and then comes the petroleum subsidy, and then comes other subsidies. Okay, so regarding this particular one, the most was given to the food subsidy. So the total expenditure on subsidies is estimated to increase at 3,38,949 crore, which is around 13.3% of the change from the revenue expenditure of 2018 to 19 to the budget expenditure of 2019 to 20. Okay, so that is it regarding this particular question. Now going through with the next question is, since 2014 to 15, India has consistently run trade surplus with which one of the following countries? Okay, so since 2014 to 15, he's asking, so India has consistently run the trade surplus with which country? Is it with China or Saudi Arabia or United States of America or Germany? The correct answer for this one is option C, United States of America. We have run the trade surplus with United States of America since 2014 to 15, and the top two countries were actually both United States of America and United Arab Emirates. Since UAE is not given here and USA is given, we will be going through with the option C as the correct answer. Okay, so that is it regarding this particular question. Now going through with the next important Indian economy related question is, arrange the following countries in descending order as per the Global Human Development Index. So as per the Global HDI Index 2019, we need to arrange these in the descending order. That means from the first to the last. And what is it? The correct answer. So is it Germany? The countries, given countries are Germany, USA, South Africa and India. So which one of the is the correct answer regarding the order? And the correct answer for this one is option D, 4, 3, 2 and 1. The least rank was given to our country India. Our HDI is 0.647 with a rank of 129 in the year of 2019. Then comes South Africa with a rank of 113. Then comes United States with a rank of 15. And then comes Germany with 4th rank in the Global Human Development Index of 2019. The Human Development Index of India is 0.647. South Africa is 0.705. The HDI of United States is 0.92 and of the Germany is 0.939. So regarding all of these, we need to understand that in the descending order, if we have to see, then India, then South Africa, after that comes United States and then comes Germany, which is 4, 3, 2 and 1, which is absolutely option D. Going through with the next question is, as per the use-based classification of the Index of Industrial Production IIP, the maximum weight has been assigned to what? Is it assigned to the primary goods or intermediate goods or customer durables or consumer non-durables? Is it consumer durables or consumer non-durables? The correct answer for this one is option A, primary goods. So as per the new series base of 2011 to 12, the use-based classification of Index of Industrial Production, the maximum weight was given to primary goods. It is around 34.05%, and then the second comes the intermediate goods with around 17.22%. Then comes the capital goods, which will be around 8.22, and then comes the other goods. The consumer durables were given a preference of around 12.84%, and the consumer non-durables were given a preference of around 15.33%. In that particular, we have to see then the maximum weight has been assigned to what? It has been assigned to the primary goods. Going through with the next question is, normally there will not be a shift in the demand curve when? Option A, price of commodity falls. Option B, consumers want to buy more at any given price. Option C, average income rises. And option D, population grows. The correct answer for this one is option A. Whenever the price of commodity falls, it will not be any shift in the demand curve. Demand curve will not depend upon when the price of the commodity falls. There will be no shift. Okay. So if we consider the graph of the demand curve, the D1 and D2 are considered to be the demand curves. D1 is the original demand curve and the D2 is a shift of the demand curve of the D1. Okay. So D2 is a shifted curve. Okay. When D2 is happening, what is happening? What does the P indicate? P indicates the prices. And what does Q indicates? Q indicates the quantities. Okay. Whenever there is an increase in quantity and whenever there is an increase in price, only then the demand curve will shift. Okay. It is not when the price or the quantity will fall. Okay. So the correct answer for this one is what? Answer is option A. What does option B says? It says that the consumers want to buy more at any given price. That is also wrong. Okay, because the price of commodity must increase. And what does they say? Option C says that average income rises. Even when the average income rises, there will not be any shift in the demand curve. And even when the population grows, also there will not be any kind of shift in the demand curve. Going through with the next question is, a market in which there are a large number of firms, homogeneous product, infinite elasticity of demand for an individual firm, and no control over price by firms is termed as what sort of market? Okay, so what do they give? They say that in this particular market, there are large number of firms. That means many number of firms. And then comes homogeneous products. All the firms are producing same type of product. And then infinite elasticity of demand for an individual firm. That means an individual firm can produce the same kind of product many number of times, and it can produce it how many number of products it want to produce, it can produce it. And it also says that there is no control over price by the firms. What is it actually termed as? Is it oligopoly or imperfect competition or monopolistic competition or perfect competition? The correct answer for this one is option D, perfect competition. The characteristics of a perfect competition is that the market is huge. That means it has a large market. It is a homogeneous market. That means all the goods of the market are homogeneous. They are absolutely similarly same. And then another characteristic is that it is cheap and efficient. Transportation is a characteristic of it. It has the perfect information availability. It has less governmental restriction, and it also has the freedom of entry and exit. All of these 6 are considered to be the characteristics of the perfect competition, which are discussed as the question is posing. So the correct answer for this one is option D. That is it regarding the questions that are related to the Indian economy and the economics related questions. And I hope that these answers and the explanations that are given here are proper and very well enough. If in case you have any doubts or queries at any particular question, or if in case you feel that the explanation is required to be more, then please feel free to comment in the comment section. And also you can even go through, download our Android app, and in that particular Android app you can even ask your queries in the discussion box, wherein which we will be discussing, we will be going through with all the queries in a very proper way. Our subject matter experts will be there for your preparation and for your solving the queries. I hope that the session was very helpful. All the very best for those who are preparing for the CDS 1 2021. Please subscribe to this channel, download our Android app from Google Play Store. Stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind. Hello everyone and welcome back to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Hemant, and now we are going to discuss about the next important session of the series of the answers regarding the general knowledge paper of the CDS 2 2020 examination, which was conducted on 8th of November 2020. So in this particular section, we will be discussing about those questions that are related towards the current affairs and the static general knowledge, the dynamic defense, and the various other current affairs, also the defense related topics. Before beginning, I would like to recommend you that if in case you are preparing for the CDS 1 2021 examination, please download our Android app from Google Play Store. Also, you can visit our website ssbcrackexams.com. Choose your favorite course regarding the Combined Defense Services examination. Go through with all the important video lectures, the study materials, content, sample practice questions, quizzes, exercises, and also mock tests that will be very helpful for your examination preparation. We feel very happy and proud that most of the questions regarding this particular section were asked from the mock tests that were given from our side. So we hope that your preparation for the examination went very well, and for your upcoming examination also you will be preparing very well. And all the very best for those who are feeling that they might get qualified in this particular examination. So let us go through with the answers regarding this particular section. And the first and foremost section question regarding this particular section is regarding that recently a rare kind of yellow turtle was discovered in India. So the state in which it was seen is what state? Okay, a rare kind of yellow turtle. Where was it seen? Was it seen in Uttarakhand or Odisha or Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh? The correct answer for this is option B, Odisha. Okay, so this was a very rare yellow turtle. It has its whole shell and body, it's completely yellow, and it was discovered and it was rescued by villagers in Odisha's Balasore district on 19th of January 2020 as per the news reports. Residents of Sujanpur village, they have handed over the turtle to the forest department officials. Most probably it was an albino. What is the meaning of albino? It means they lack the characteristics of the basic generic turtles. It is a kind of the genetic abnormality that will be observed in various animals. So this is considered to be a very special creature, and it was found in the state of Odisha. Going through with the next question is, ASEEM is the full form of ASEEM is what? The correct answer for this is option B, Atmanirbhar Skilled Employee Employer Mapping. Remember, ASEEM full form is its Atmanirbhar Skilled Employee Employer Mapping. This is regarding the Skill India and the National Skill Development Corporation. So this complete ASEEM, this mapping, it is developed and it is managed by the NSDC, the National Skill Development Corporation, in collaboration with Bengaluru based Better Place, which is a private company. It will provide real-time data analytics about the demand and supply patterns and enables policymakers to take more objective view of various sectors as written here. It is also under the division of the driven by the ministers, the PM assertion of the India's talent powerhouse at the India Global Week 2020 summit. It will further re-engineer the vocational training landscape of the country. So this is regarding about the skill in India, regarding the upcoming of the skill development, also of the upcoming regarding the various people to uplift the various sections of the society in which their skills will be uplifted and they will be certified. Going through with the next important question is that the Government of India program regarding stay in India and study in India, it is initiated by which ministry? Is it Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports? Is it Ministry of Culture? Is it Ministry of Education? And is it the Ministry of Tourism? The correct answer for this is option C, Ministry of Education. Previously, the Ministry of Education was known as the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, the HRD ministry. It was renamed as the Ministry of Education after the National Education Policy was launched in the year of 2020. So once this particular important scheme was launched, and regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, most of the students who are aspiring to go abroad, they have been advised to study in India and pursue their other studies, also their further studies in India itself. So this program, they formally launched the Stay in India program, and also later on they even launched the Study in India program, which is the upcoming program of after the Stay in India program. Both of them have been launched by the Ministry of HRD, which is renamed as the Ministry of Education. So going through with the next important question is that the Pragyan rover installed in Chandrayaan 2 mission had how many wheels? Okay, so it had option D, 6 wheels. Okay, so the Pragyan rover, it has 6 wheels, 3 on the left and 3 on the right, and the Chandrayaan 2 mission is considered to be a very fascinating mission, a very proud mission which is launched by our country, and it has the lander of this particular mission, it is named as Vikram, and the rover that will be eligible to go through the surfaces on the moon, that has been named as Pragyan. It has 6 wheels. Going through with the next question is, which of the following Indian institutes was approved by the Drugs Controller General of India for conducting human trials of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine candidate? So the correct answer for this one is, what is it? Is it option A, Bharat Biotech, or All India Institute of Medical Sciences, or Serum Institute of India, or National Institute of Epidemiology? The correct answer for this one is option C, Serum Institute. So Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, this is launched by the United Kingdom, by the England, and it has been under trials under our country, and our Indian Drugs Controller General has given the approval for the Serum Institute, which is a Cyrus Poonawalla Group's institute, to conduct the human trials of this particular vaccine. Okay, so the correct answer for this one is option C, Serum Institute of India. Going through with the next important question is, the recent explosion near oil well in Bagjan is due to what? Is it option A, due to removing of the spool during the blowout control operations, or was it due to the transfer of the oil from its depot to a pipeline, or was it the leakage of methyl isocyanide gas, or was it due to the leakage of radiations from radioactive substance? The correct answer for this one is option A. The proper reason regarding this one is still unknown, but most of the speculations are still going on, and most of the people, also the studies that have been shown regarding the site, they have said that the main reason might be because of the removing of the spool during the blowout control operations. The spool that was there, that will prevent the blowout, that was removed and that was not taken care of, and once the oil was leaked enough and it caught fire and it didn't stop since a lot of time, and it was considered to be a greatest tragedy, one of the most depressing tragedies that our country has witnessed, and it is considered to be one of the largest loss of economical damage that India has faced in recent years. Going through with the next important question is, who among the following is the architect of the Ram temple being constructed at Ayodhya? So the Ram temple at Ayodhya, the architect who has designed this particular temple is option B, Chandrakant Sompura. Chandrakant Sompura is the architect of the Ram temple being constructed at Ayodhya. Going through with the next question now is, which one of the following statements with regard to the National Food Security Act is not correct? Option A says that the act was enacted in the year of 2013. Option B says that the act was rolled out in the year of 2014. Option C says that the act legally entitles 67% of the population to receive highly subsidized food grains. And option D, it states that the act is not being implemented in all states or union territories? The correct answer for this one is option B. The reason is because this act was rolled out in the year of 2013 only. Okay, so this act is actually not being implemented in all the states and union territories, but it is implemented to only those rural areas and those societies and the various sections of the population wherein which they have to receive the subsidized food grains. So regarding the subsidized food grains, the act legally entitles around 75% of urban population. Okay, 75% of urban population and 50% of rural population will be entitled legally to receive subsidized food grains from the government. So if we combine both of them, it will be around 67% of the population to receive all of these. So the correct answer for this one is option B. Going through with the next question is, August 12th is celebrated as what day? Is it celebrated as World Environment Day or World No Tobacco Day or International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking or International Youth Day? The correct answer for this one is option D, International Youth Day. World Environment Day is celebrated on June of 5th every year. On May 31st, we celebrate World No Tobacco Day. On June of 26th, we celebrate International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And in August 12th, we celebrate International Youth Day. The National Youth Day of our country, the Indian Youth Day, that is celebrated on 12th of January on the birthday of Swami Vivekananda. Considering the International Youth Day, that is celebrated on August of 12th. So both are different. Okay, going through with the next question is, which one of the following countries had chosen the name Nisarga for the cyclone which devastated the coastline of Maharashtra and Gujarat in June 2020? So in June 2020, both the states of Maharashtra and Gujarat have received the cyclones, and that particular cyclone which devastated the states in a very devastating way, and it caused ecological and economical imbalance in the states. So that particular cyclone was named as Nisarga. So this particular name was actually proposed by which country? Is it proposed by Maldives or Bangladesh or Thailand or Japan? So the name Nisarga to that particular cyclone, it was proposed by option B, Bangladesh. Going through with the next question is, who among the following played the role of Shakuntala Devi in the biopic movie based on the life of the famous mathematician? Is it option A, Madhuri Dixit or Rani Mukherjee or Tabu or option D, Vidya Balan? The correct answer for this one is option D, Vidya Balan. So this particular movie is based on the life of Shakuntala Devi, the human mathematician from the Indian origin. Going through with the next question is, which one of the following states is planned to host the Khelo India Youth Games 4th edition? So the Khelo India Youth Games 4th edition is planned at which particular state, and which particular state is hosting this edition? And the correct answer is what? Is it option A, Kerala or Haryana or Gujarat or Manipur? The correct answer for this one is option B, Haryana. Khelo India Youth Games 4th edition will be conducted on July of 25th, 2020. The Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Kiren Rijiju, has announced that Haryana is going to host the 4th edition of Khelo India Youth Games, and these have been scheduled to be conducted after the Tokyo Olympics. Remember, it will be conducted after the Tokyo Olympics. Going through with the next question now is, who among the following has won the singles title in Wimbledon Tennis Championship in the year of 2019? Is it option A, Karolina Pliskova, or option D, Simona Halep, or option C, Serena Williams, or option D, Naomi Osaka? The correct answer for this one is option B, Simona Halep. Okay, so she has defeated Serena Williams in straight singles to win women's singles championship at Wimbledon. Okay, this is conducted in the year of 2019, and she is considered to be a very famous one. Also, do mention in the comment section from which particular country Simona Halep is from. Okay, going through with the next question is, recently islands of Andaman and Nicobar were connected with mainland by submarine optical fiber cable. Which one of the following islands was not connected initially? Is it option A, Shahid Island, or option B, Swaraj Island, or option C, Little Andaman, or option D, Port Blair? The correct answer for this one is option A, Shahid Island. So the Prime Minister, he has laid the foundation for connecting Chennai to Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the CANI, with optical fiber. And when was it done? It was done on December of 30th, 2018. Okay, so this is a part of the project. Around 2,300 kilometers submarine optical fiber cable was laid down, and from where to where was this particular one? These cables were laid from Chennai to Port Blair, again from Port Blair to Little Andaman, and again from Port Blair to Swaraj Island. Okay, so from Chennai to Port Blair, one sort of fiber cable, and from Port Blair to Andaman, Little Andaman, another one, and again from Port Blair to Swaraj Island, there is another one. So these three are considered to be very, very important one. And among all of these three were laid, they were laid initially, and Shahid Island was not one among them. If we go through that, the speed of the internet that is provided by the submarine optical fiber cable, the CANI, it is around 100 gigabits per second, and this will be having a very high speed. Around 8 islands are going to be connected, which include Chennai, Port Blair, from Chennai, which include Port Blair, Little Andaman, Car Nicobar, Kamorta, Great Nicobar or Campbell Bay, Havelock Islands, the Long and Rangat Islands. It will provide secure, reliable, robust, affordable telecom facility to these islands, and the total route length is considered to be around 2300 or 2200, whatever the one it is considered, and the NEC Corporation, a Japanese company, will be handling this particular project. Going through with the next question is, in August 2020, who among the following was administered the oath as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka for the 4th time? Is it option A, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, or option B, Basil Rajapaksa, or option C, Mahindra Rajapaksa, or option D, Namal Rajapaksa? The correct answer for this one is option C, Mahindra Rajapaksa. He has been administered to take oath. He took the oath in August of 2020 as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka for the 4th time. Going through with the next question is, which one of the following Indian Ocean island nations has recently declared a state of environmental emergency due to the oil spill from a grounded ship? Is it Maldives or Mauritius or Madagascar or Sri Lanka? It is regarding the Mauritius oil spill. Okay, this is regarding the Mauritius country's oil spill, and that particular ship that has did this particular environmental damage was MV Vacasio. This was a vessel, and this was a ship that was carrying lot of tons of fuel, and this broke out, and all of this fuel was drained into the ocean, and this was done in a very few areas wherein which the Mauritius islands were considered, and the water will get immediately polluted, and that is the reason why Mauritius has declared an environmental emergency on July of 25th. Okay, so Mauritius Prime Minister Praveen Jugnauth has declared the state of emergency and has appealed the French government to help. Why did he appeal only French government? Because the French island of Reunion, there is an island known as Reunion, which is very near to Mauritius, and that Reunion island, it is administered by the French Republic, by the France. Okay, so he has appealed the French government to help in this particular one. Also, he has appealed to other countries, and wherein which we are very clear that our ships, our Indian Ocean ships, our Indian naval ships have also assisted in completely combating this environmental disaster, and it was completely kept to a safe position. Okay, so going through with the next important question is, which one of the following is a decommissioned aircraft carrier? This was the only one defense related question that was asked in the complete CDS 2 2020 question paper. This is only one defense related question. So which is that only decommissioned aircraft carrier? That one is option D, INS Virat. Okay, INS Virat was decommissioned on 6th of March 2017. We had commissioned it on 12th of May 1987. The motto of INS Virat is Jalame Vayasya Balame Vatasya. To be converted that Sanskrit words into English, it will be translated as he who rules over the seas is all powerful. The nickname of INS Virat is Grand Old Lady of Indian Navy. That is it regarding the current affairs, the static general knowledge and defense specific related questions of the CDS 2 2020 question paper. I hope that you people are aware and understood about all the questions and the answers and explanations regarding these questions. If in case you have any other doubts or queries, feel free to ask us in our comment box and discussion session, so that we will be always helping you. For more completed, updated guidance and in a very detailed session, please log on to our website. Also, you can even download our Android app and subscribe to our courses. Start off with all of these things, which will be very, very helpful. We are always intended to keep you and your dreams secure, so that you people acquire your dreams and always stay safe. So that is it regarding this particular section. Stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind.